Welcome to Divorcing Today. Now what? With John and Jennifer. Today we have a family lawyer named Ida Mirzadeh, and she's going to be giving some insight on the do's and don'ts of separation and divorce. Stay tuned. Welcome, Ida.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on and talking about, exciting family law.
Yeah, perfect. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a family law lawyer. I work at Simmons de Silva, which is a full service law firm. It's located at 407 in here, Ontario, which is conveniently located right across from the Brampton Courthouse. I've been practicing exclusively in family law for a little over 5 years now. My practice involves all areas of family law, litigation, alternative dispute resolution. We focus on high conflict, custody issues, support disputes, property division, pretty much everything in terms of family law. We don't do any child protection or, defending against any Children's Aid Society cases. But other than that, any private related matters between spouses we deal with.
Well, that's fantastic. And I know that dealing with high conflict clients can sometimes be very difficult, especially when they come very emotional to you. What would you say in a consultation would be your best advice to a client that comes to you?
Sometimes I get calls from clients who don't even, they're kind of, they haven't decided if they want to actually go on with the divorce. But I think I encourage people before even having a conversation with the spouse to get legal advice, because I think it's so important to first know your rights, even if you're, not 100% sure that you want to move forward with the divorce. You should probably know what you're even entitled to, what are your responsibilities, before you have the difficult conversation of saying, well, I think it's time that we do go our separate ways. So I think if you have the opportunity, the resources to retain a lawyer, that's even better. I think, you need a professional on your side when you're going through such an emotional time. If you can't, sometimes money is a real, inhibitor of being able to move forward with a lawyer. But even if you can get that initial consultation and have the benefit of the advice that we do provide consultations. You can do a 1 hour full comprehensive consultation for a charge, or I even do a 15-minute free one. And I think that really does make a big difference in how you negotiate.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And what I'm hearing is that you litigate, but you also do alternate dispute resolution. So when someone would come to you for, let's say, the 15-minute consultation, would you generally get an idea which direction they're headed in?
Yeah, so I always, and especially now with the changes to the Divorce Act, we actually have to start off with an alternative dispute resolution process. We can't right away say, you know what, your case is perfect. Let's, start with litigation. Let's bring an application and go to court right away. I think it's really important for clients when they're going through the process for the first time to know that there is the option to mediate, which is, an alternative dispute resolution process. There's meetings that we can hold just with lawyers and the parties, four-way settlement meetings. It doesn't have to right away be, a lot of times people think that once they get lawyers involved, it becomes messy and it's court and it's costly. But, I come from a place of, I like to make a plan or a strategy based on my client and their needs. So sometimes they just say to me, no, there's no point. I don't want to negotiate. Let's just go straight to court, which is fine, but maybe they don't know the process, as they probably saw something on TV and they think that's what we do. So I still, I'm obligated to still go through the steps of the court process with them because that's what they want me to do. But I will always try to negotiate or mediate in any way that I can, for sure.
It's good to hear. And what are some of the biggest mistakes or hurdles that you see that clients will make?
So I think the biggest thing that I see is that they sweat the small stuff. And I always try to encourage them to, you don't want to focus too much on the pettiness. And that kind of goes back to my initial point about the advice I can give to people, is because they do sweat the small stuff. They come to you and they're in a panic. And I know it's easier said than done, But, you know, I think that a lot of times people reflect and they think, oh, I can't believe that I spent this much money or talking to my lawyer about this or litigating this, when it really has no impact on the end goal. So, you know, I try to help my clients see the bigger picture so they're not making these little mistakes. So I think another big mistake is people are just, it's the cost. They can't believe how much money they spent. So I always do a cost benefit analysis with my clients, because some spend hundreds and thousands of dollars, go to trial, and then they have an outcome and they're successful on paper. It says depending on the claims made and the outcome, they are technically the more successful party, but it doesn't feel like a win because you actually lost so much in your time, took probably years off your life. You spent a ton of money.
During the process, when your clients come to you and you see that they may be sweating the small stuff or are concerned about the legal fees, is there ever a time where you will refer them to maybe have some counseling or something else that they may have a more cost-effective approach to the situation?
Yeah, so a big part of what I do throughout, like not just the initial consultation, but also throughout my relationship with the client, is to see, because in family law especially, things are changing. You know, at the beginning, they might feel a certain way about a certain issue, and then all of a sudden, once we resolve that issue, they're completely different in terms of their emotional state and how they see the case going. So I always try to, based on their needs at the time, will either give them, they might need a counselor, because I'm not their counselor or therapist. I'm just here to advise them and give good, solid legal advice. Right. It may be that depending on the case, if it's a parenting case, for example, I always like to say, let's either try to get a parenting coordinator, someone in, maybe a mediator, because I don't think parenting cases belong in court. I think that they should who knows your case better than yourselves when it comes to how you are as parents and how to create a schedule. I think it's the worst case scenario when a judge is deciding a parenting schedule, because it's you're leaving it up to a stranger essentially, right? So if it's a parenting case, I really try to refer them to professionals that can help them. I'm just the lawyer, but there's a team of other professionals that are always involved in a family law case. If it's a property case, I will try to get them in touch with maybe they need a mortgage advisor like John, or maybe they need a financial advisor. Maybe it's as simple as just speaking with their accountant, because there's big assets involved and there's tax implications. So maybe they need to have advice and they can make a better offer, or they can come to the negotiating table with something that makes a little bit more sense, rather than just coming to an agreement and then you can't follow through on it. Business valuators are a big part of what we do as family law lawyers. If someone's a business owner, they need to have their business valuated. And if there's a matrimonial homes, I can refer them to a good real estate agent. I think a lot of lawyers shy away from getting other professionals involved because I think they don't have the network. They don't have it's hard to make a referral, because at the end of the day, it's your reputation. So if you don't know the people you're referring your clients to, I think it's a problem. So I really like to always know who I'm in, who my network is. I always make sure I have a relationship with them. So when I am making the referral, it is a solid, good referral. And as a family law lawyer, I really believe that we should be doing more to help our clients, not just, it's important to know the law, don't get me wrong, but also we need to be able to help them move on, which is a big part of getting over the hurdle of divorce.
How can someone get in contact with you?
So I'm very active on social media. You can always contact me through there. We have a website, www.sdslawfirm.com. You can email me, ida@sdslawfirm.com. You can contact me. All my contact details are obviously on our website, but I am always approachable. Like if my clients contact me, I am the point of call often. Obviously, we do have a conflicts checking system, but I do like to, be the face behind the number. So when you contact me, you are getting me.
which is great. And what about? I know you're on Instagram, so
Yes.
can you share your Instagram?
Yes. So my handle is Mirzadeh Family Law, and Mirzadeh Family Law is my Twitter handle. I'm on Facebook, but I'm much more active on Instagram and Twitter.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully people can connect.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know your Instagram has some good info.
Yeah, I like to post just little facts and tips about family law. So if anyone's ever interested, for sure, you can get some good information there. Obviously, it's not legal advice, but it is a good platform. You know, I'm trying to get people more aware about just divorce in general. I think there's a solid divorce community on social media platforms, especially during the pandemic, where people can just come together and share stories. It doesn't have to be such a negative, horrible thing. You know, it is empowering once you have taken the step and are divorced and things are over. People look back and often feel good about themselves. So I think that's a big part of what I'm doing now in terms of my activity on social media.
Great to know.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, Ida, for joining us and for giving some good information and insight to our listeners. Thanks
for having me. I'm always, happy to talk about divorce, even though it sounds like, oh, who wants to talk about that? But like I said, I'm trying to change the conversation about divorce and how people think about it. So I'm always happy to talk more about it.
Well, I look forward to working again soon.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show.
I think Ida had some really great insight when she mentioned having a judge rule for what would be best for your family versus having a professional who can guide you through the process and have you decide what's best for you and your family. I know that mom and dad usually want to have equal share parenting time, and even if it's not, they want to have a good schedule with the children. And when you throw that to the court's decisions, they can rule anything that they want to without knowing your kids or you as parents. So it's really difficult, and I'm glad that she shined some light on that, because that's something that I think definitely should be spoken about with a professional before throwing it into the court's hands.
Yeah, and it's good sound advice. Right? She's like, hey, let's figure this out between, say, mom and dad, versus having the judge do it, right? Complete stranger in a lot of cases. So, I think that advice comes from a good place.
Absolutely.
Divorcing Today with John and Jennifer. Now what?